the coordinators what you want. I just don't get it. I don't. These coaches are so chummy with each other that they don't want to throw their guy under the bus. You're getting paid the $10 million. He's not. Take a rein and change the game plan. Right. If it's not working and the offensive coordinator is not getting it done, you need to have input.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
You love this segment. You nicknamed this segment. You sort of put your mark on it with the rats with the cash.
There's rats.
Right, and they're the garbage games. One of the games...
What are you saying, rats hang out in garbage? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, they do. Hang out in New York City. You'll see it.
A lot of rats in New York City. That's the way it is, man. Hey, we don't want to throw out any names out there. Exactly.
Philly, too. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I think Kendre Miller's role continues to grow in this offense. So I think as you're looking at bye weeks continuing on and looking for running back depth, as always, we all know the dynamic can change in a minute, right? We've done this so many times in the last couple of weeks. We were adding Woody Marks before his game. We were adding Brashard Smith last week. I still want to add Brashard Smith this week. I want to add the guys that I think have upside for the second half, and Kendre Miller is definitely one of those backs.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I apologize to our fans. We need to do better. That's all you need to say, Scott, right? But Tua goes out there, my kids love me. I'm rich. I don't care. You got your dumbass coach coming out here, and we play to win. You got to win the game, and you got to win. And, dude, the Dolphins press conferences make it way worse. If I was a Dolphin fan, I just want to punch these guys in the face.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are you ready for some football? It is a Monday night party tonight with a doubleheader, but I love this show. It's the early line. It's Donnie Rightside, and it's Joe Ranieri. And what we're going to do over the next 2 hours is make sure we get you caught up on everything that happened on Saturday, everything that happened on Sunday, and making sure we look forward to tonight's Monday night affair, a doubleheader, and the rest of the week, which does include Major League Baseball, which some people might be waking up to and go, wait a second. There was a baseball game on last night. So much to get to. We're ready to go. It's the SportsGrid Network. It's time to get down to business, Joe.
All right, listen, I'm excited. Your baseball game wasn't exactly fantastic theater last night, but the good news is if you were bored, we got not one but two NFL games tonight to dive into as well.
A lot of action to get to at this point right now, but on a Monday morning, some people are feeling the lag. We're bringing out the caffeinated Joe. He is ready to go.
Oh, Donnie, I want to talk about the NFL's global expansion, if we could, for a second here, because I applaud it. I am all about it. Let's grow the game, right? Let's share this beautiful, wonderful sport with the millions of fans around the world. Here in the States, for instance, we already understand the joys of getting up at the crack of dawn so we can start our Sunday with some mimosas and football and breakfast. It doesn't get any better than it. We love it. We embrace it. And so should the rest of the world, Donnie. But to Roger Goodell, I have just one simple question for you this morning. Whose brilliant idea was it to send the New York Jets to London as your global game ambassador? You've got to be kidding me, right? See, the NFL needs to be fined. They need to be brought in front of some sort of world tribunal for exposing people to what Jet fans already know is garbage, but people around the world, well, they learned yesterday just how bad it is. So on behalf of all miserable, long-suffering Jet fans, I would like to formally apologize to the people of London and anyone around the world who actually paid their hard-earned money and woke up early on Sunday to watch that absolute abomination of football. You were promised the thrill of the NFL. Instead, you got a Jets offense that produced 82 total yards. That's right, 82. That's the third lowest in franchise history, Donnie. Oh, yeah, you got minus 10 in passing yards there. Minus 10. How great is that? The worst in franchise history. You got a quarterback who was sacked not once, not twice, not 8 times, 9 times. And a team that nearly went 28 straight minutes of a game without getting a single first down. Oh, and the best part of this incompetent Sunday that we had to endure, at the end of the first half, the ball near midfield, 4th and 1. And what does good old Aaron Glenn do? Well, nothing, because he didn't know what to do. The pure definition of a deer caught in the headlights. Even his own star players were going, are you kidding me here? We just let the clock run out. That's exactly what the Jets did. That, in fact, is the Jets' experience in a nutshell. Complete and utter incompetence, sprinkled with a little hope to make the final inevitable failure that much more painful. So to the people of London, Donnie, I'm sorry you had to see that, but hey, welcome to the Jets world, Donnie.
No need to apologize for that. And by the way, it's almost like saying, Joe, let's send these guys, 5,000 miles away from their home. Let's play this football game at most cities, 9:30 a.m. local. And if you're a West Coast team or even playing out in the mountain time zone, it's basically a 7:30 start. Food and a culture they're not used to, and then expect them to play a good football game. That's how it ends at 13-11. But Roger Goodell, let's put 4 teams actually in Europe here. Let's play a Super Bowl in Europe. Let's ruin everything here. How about you just play the home game here on our own turf where everybody is comfortable? But no, money means everything, even if the product is terrible that they send off. And by the way, people, get used to it. They want to add so every single team in the NFL every single year has at least one away game or home game that will be played in Europe, Brazil, or wherever. Get ready for that, people. It's all about the money. Now get ready for the early lineup right now. The hottest topics across the sports landscape. That's all the Kansas City Chiefs. They won last night. I expected them to win. They're 3-3 now. But you know what I love here? The concept of we need the Chiefs to continue because Taylor Swift's in the building and it's good for the NFL and the Chiefs dynasty. Did you know the Chiefs didn't have a penalty last night? Did you know the Detroit Lions scored a touchdown and the refs got together and goes, no. Let's just take this away. It's not reviewable. We're going to bring this one back. I'm not saying it had anything to do with it, and I thought the Chiefs would win, and they played a good football game. But sometimes the narrative on the Chiefs just overwhelms the final score. Blowout win for the Chiefs by double digits, Joe.
Yeah, we have such short memories in this country, Donnie, because we just spent the better part of a decade and a half saying the exact same crap at the exact same time about the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, and Bill Belichick. Yeah. We did it for how many years did we go, this is it. They're done. They're not a good football team. I mean, let's be real. The wrong team is favored here, Donnie. I mean, come on. Yeah, okay. Like you said, Donnie, they shot themselves in the foot on a short week on a Monday night against Jacksonville. How many mistakes did they make on a short week last night against Detroit, a better team? Yeah, exactly. The idea the Chiefs are dead, no, do not buy into it. They are far from dead.
No, certainly not. And also, let's remember last week, too, which you saw them on primetime football, scored a touchdown. The refs go, that's a blatant pick play. Come in, you get, Rodgers in my ear. We got to pick up this flag. Let's keep it moving here. The Chiefs are a good football team. They don't need help. They're 3-3 now, and more help is on the way. Something certainly to keep an eye on. The 49ers season. I said this coming in. They were so injured to start, Joe. And the one thing we know about professional sports, which includes football, you never get healthy during the regular season. It only adds up. So you already lost Bosa, probably your best defensive player on the defensive line. Now you lost maybe the best overall linebacker in football in Fred Warner. Devastating ankle injury, surgery up on deck. He's out for the year. The 49ers are going nowhere. I mean, look, credit them for playing football each and every week. They're going nowhere, and it's not their fault.
We said it, Di. I mean, we thought all of this was last year's team, right? They had to endure some ridiculous injuries. And now it's right into this season again. I don't know who they got to call in. I don't know how much sage they got to burn, Donnie. We've been asking for it, but that was just a horrific injury for one of the game's best linebackers. And again, there's only so many Fred Warners you can recover from, no matter how easy the schedule is. And that's unfortunately the situation for the 49ers again this year.
No doubt about it. How about Anthony Richardson warming up on the field? One of those little bands hit him in the face, fractured his orbital bone, which required a hospital stay. This kid can't stay healthy on the field, off the field, or practicing to get on the field, Joe.
I didn't even know he was still in the league, Donnie. That's how good Daniel Jones has been here in the Indianapolis Colts. But my goodness, dude, really? Talk about a dude that ought to burn some sage. Like Anthony Richardson, if it could go wrong, it is going wrong for you. But just stay away from the band, dude. Whatever you do, stay away from the bands. My goodness.
We're going to talk Jets a little bit later, but understand this. Justin Fields is not a quarterback in the NFL. It's been proven time and time again. He is an athlete. Move him to tight end, play Tyrod Taylor. I guarantee you the Jets will win football games, Joe. How about that?
Unfortunately, it's not just him. Aaron Glenn is proving not to be a very good head coach, is he? No, it's the same old, same old. Now, and you just go down the line, Danny. The offensive coordinator, go down the line. That was a terribly coached game again yesterday by the New York Jets.
Yeah, we'll spend some time on Penn State and James Franklin coming up as well. Fired after 12 seasons, made a ton of money. You can't be at a big institution with championship expectations and never, ever, ever win a big game, Joe.
Yeah, but congratulations. You're getting paid $50 million to leave the building. I wish somebody would pay me $50 million to go away, Donnie.
Exactly. Unhappy Valley turns into, I guess, Happy Valley that the James Franklin experience now is over. And the Aces, I'm saying, won the championship 97-86. When was this game played? Was this July? Is this like a late headline that we have here? When would even this happen?
Like, what are you talking? This was last year, right? Or weren't they oh, yeah. It feels like the Aces are the champions every year, Donnie. There is nothing new here, man. Nothing new.
Kelsey Plum, did she have a hand in this victory for the Aces? I do know she still plays for them, I think. Or Asia Wilson? It is what it is. Thank God. WNBA is over because nobody watched it. Nobody cares. Now we get to a sport that matters. Coming up next, Spreadlines.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 Circus Sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
You may be surprised, because I am, that the athlete in the world who has become the first billionaire is Cristiano Ronaldo. I did not know that, and I did not have that on my bingo card. So after his contract that he just signed, it means that he's the first athlete to ever earn $1 billion playing sports.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Armchair quarterback, we love it. And we'll get to so many topics that happened on Sunday. But as you know, on a Monday, you open up your sports page, which is basically your SportsGrid network. Hey, what are the fellas going to talk about today? What are they going to recap on? But understanding this, the headlines that compete with the sports and the spread lines here all together in one. Let's get it started, Joe, because it's never too early to look ahead. How about Texas Tech and Arizona State? What if I would have told you this look-ahead line, Joe, was -5.5 for Texas Tech? How about if I tell you some outlets, they're showing 11.5 today, and a total of 53.5 that has dropped into the 540s at this point. Texas Tech, Arizona State. The spread line is what, Joe?
Well, this is all about the injury to quarterback Sam Leavitt there of Arizona State. And you saw it, what a difference he makes against Utah in this game in the past week. And I mean, Jeff Sims, journeyman, much like Jacoby Brissett, feels like he's played on 19 different college football teams, Donnie. 18 of 38 for a $124 against Utah. Not very good. But the problem is, it doesn't look like he's going to be back for this game either. And I just don't know that the market has adjusted for how good this kid is and what he means to Arizona State, because we know Texas Tech could be the best team, Donnie, nobody is talking about right now. They are a top 10, top 15 nationally in just about every defensive category. And with a backup quarterback, and you mentioned it, even if Leavitt was healthy, the look-ahead line here, yeah, it was still not going to be good. This line is only going to go one place, and it's going to continue to rise. So if you can get it under 2 touchdowns, get it while you can, because the kid's not coming back, unfortunately, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Joe started the show talking about a doubleheader in Monday Night Football, which we do. We're going to love. We're going to break that down extensively today. But did you know, people, there is a doubleheader in Major League Baseball today? Game number 1 starting at 5:03. Game number 2 at 8:08. And we'll start with that 8:08 game. The Los Angeles Dodgers on the road with Blake Snell, the left-handed pitcher, going to get the start going up against Quinn Priester, and a line that sits anywhere between -145 to -155, depending on where you're shopping. The Dodgers and the Brewers. The spread line is what, Joe?
Well, it shouldn't be surprising, right, that the lower-seeded Dodgers are favored. Don't forget, I mean, the Brewers had the best record in Major League Baseball. They have home field advantage throughout the playoffs as long as they are in it. While this game price is one thing, Donnie, it was the series price that stuck out to me, with the Dodgers being over a $2 favorite in this one here. And I think a lot of that has to do with the simple fact that the Dodgers finished off your Phillies in 4, which allowed them to set up their rotation in a real easy way. You're going to have Snell. You're going to have Yamamoto. You're going to have Glass now. You're going to have all the guys that you thought they would have on regular rest. In the meantime, you're going to have the Milwaukee Brewers. Well, they're going to have to cobble together a couple of innings from this guy, from that guy, Quintana, is it Priester? They've got to be able to weather this storm, much like Seattle did. The bottom line to me is I would go ahead and grab the Brewers series price now, Donnie, because if they do what they did during the regular season, which was go 6-0 against these Dodgers, then that number that you're looking at right now for them will not be there come tomorrow morning, much like that number on Toronto or Seattle. Yeah, that number yesterday is no longer available in the market for the series winner as well.
No, it's not. Toronto with the early lead yesterday ended up getting beaten by Seattle. So Seattle is a 1-0 series lead. A 5:03 start today. Seattle and Toronto for game number 2. Castillo versus Savage. You take a look at the spread line here, Joe. -125s overnight, increasing towards Toronto and their young pitcher as high as a -140 and a total of 7.5. Your spread line tonight, Joe, for Seattle and Toronto is what?
Well, what did we learn from that game last night, right? Because the narrative was Blue Jays, much like the Dodgers, handled their business. They're able to set up their rotation the way they want. And what happened? Well, great. Congratulations. Mariners win 3-1 because your bats went cold. But let's not forget, Donnie, that was one game, and this is still the best home field advantage in Major League Baseball. This team was absolutely dominant at home here. It was a rough go last night, but you got to expect them with the rookie on the mound to bounce back here. If you didn't take Toronto in the series price yesterday, Donnie, now might be the time that you want to jump in on them for this one, because if they split this, they win at home here, go on the road to Seattle. Yeah, it's I think it's going to be very hard to match this plus price you're getting right now.
Jumping on the bandwagon, something that everybody's doing on the Buffalo Bills this weekend. It's a lot of fun. Did I say 7.5 out of 8 8.5 out of every 10 tickets right now, Joe? coming in on those Buffalo Bills. They're going to take on Atlanta tonight in game number 1 of the doubleheader on Monday Night Football. That line was 4.5. Most outlets showing 3.5 now, Joe. The spread line for Bills Falcons is what?
This is another one of these, much like last night, Donnie, pros versus Joes, right? The pros were on Kansas City. The public loved Detroit. Well, the public loves the Bills, Donnie. All the tickets, all the money on them. But the problem is this line keeps moving towards Atlanta here. So that's worth keeping an eye on. Also, keeping an eye on the health of some of these guys on the Buffalo Bills, especially in that secondary. Keep an eye on who's playing and who is not. The bottom line is I know a lot of people are also thinking shootouts, but we're also starting to see that money come in on the under as well tonight. That should be a very interesting first game up.
Extra rest for the Atlanta Falcons doesn't pay off in a victory over the Buffalo Bills. Game number 2, Chicago and Washington. Williams versus Daniels. 8:15 start. Game number 2. Opening line 4.5. Now we're saying 5.5's out here. Nor'easter ripping up the coast. Could be a little bit of change in some weather conditions, show. The spread line for this game for you is what?
Well, not only the weather you need to keep an eye on in this one, Donnie. You also need to keep an eye on not 1, not 2, but 3 of the defensive starters for the Bears likely to be back in this game. Winds, huge. Double-digit winds. Wind gusts are crazy here. A lot of rain, sloppy conditions. Yeah, if you haven't bet the under or been thinking about it sooner rather than later to do that.
Absolutely. Watch out for those weather conditions tonight. We'll see if it plays into it, but right now, bettors aren't scared off all that much on taking the over as it still sits around 50. Next, what we're going to talk about, the Kansas City Chiefs. You want a brawl? We got one late night. You want a resurrection of your season? You just might have it with Kansas City. It's Joe and Donnie in the morning right here on the SportsGrid Network.
Football contest season is back, and so is the Las Vegas Football Contest Show. Season 2, the sharpest football contest show in the land. Focusing on all 3 circus sports contests and the Westgate Superbook Super Contest, we handicap the games and release our contest picks every week of the season. Featuring Super Contest champions Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and former NFL player Mike Pritchard, all team will have you prepared this season like none other. Check us out every weekend right here on SportsGrid.
You may be surprised, because I am, that the athlete in the world who has become the first billionaire is Cristiano Ronaldo. I did not know that, and I did not have that on my bingo card. So after his contract that he just signed, it means that he's the first athlete to ever earn $1 billion playing sports.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
This one's for you, Tommy Reynolds. I know you're a Rochester Americans guy, but the big team, the Buffalo Sabres, at home against the listless Rangers. Can we get plus 102? We can in overtime. Knockaroo does it again. Buffalo over the Rangers.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
I thought yesterday the Kansas City Chiefs would beat the Detroit Lions. I thought we would have a close game, and technically we did. Like all throughout it, it was, score here, score there. big play here, big play there. But the one thing we know about the Kansas City Chiefs, it always runs, Joe, through Patrick Mahomes. 22 of 30, 257, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and ran 10 more times, and one of those was for a touchdown. You want to talk about playing a clean game. It's hard to go through an NFL game and not get a penalty. Welcome to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's also hard for the Detroit Lions to have a great offense to go on the road and really be stymied at times. 23 carries, 98 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, no touchdowns on the ground, even though Goff threw 2 touchdowns. This is what we expect Kansas City to be. 2-3 team, they were masquerading as an under 500 team. We know they're not. They're going to get healthy here, but that's a good win. Detroit's a really good football team, but I want to start, Joe, with Kansas City. Your thoughts on the Chiefs' performance last night and how that pertains to the rest of the season for them?
Not shocking. The Chiefs were, without a doubt, one of the best buy low opportunities of the year so far. Last night at home, coming off a short week in which they shot themselves in the foot, should have won that game, beat Jacksonville in just about every facet of that game, putting up nearly 500 yards of offense. Yeah, the idea that Kansas City is somehow, they're not the team, they're every bit the team they used to be. The scary part here is they have reinforcements coming their way too on the offense. So, yeah, the idea that, it was going to be the Chargers division, that they were going to run away, or somehow what you get from Denver and Bo Nix, what you watched yesterday, is somehow going to be good enough to beat this team come November and December. I think people are sadly mistaken. The good news is, Donnie, I think you'll still have some value on the Chiefs over the next week or so, but that window is closing quickly here now on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, and look, they're a good football team. They're a championship pedigree team. Sometimes you just don't get off started to a good start here, but that's a great victory against the Detroit Lions. Now, understand this, too. We talked about this ad nauseum last week, Joe. Hey, 48s. The public could not get enough of the 48s, the 49s, the 50s, the 51s, the 52s, Joe, and the 53s. Unbelievable good weather conditions. But the one thing you sort of leave out is Detroit's got a decent defense this year, even though their secondary was really injured. Kansas City on the Spagnuolo always has a good defense. Look at that vaunted offense for the Detroit Lions, Joe. They didn't even get over 300 yards in that game. That's a pretty impressive performance from the Chiefs' defense overall.
Very impressive. And it was clear that Detroit's entire goal early was we're going to try and wear down this Chiefs defense here by doing these, 10, 11, 12, 15. I mean, the opening drive was 15 plays, which, by the way, the game would have went over had they went ahead and kept the touchdown to Jared Goff there. But I don't even know what they called there, some sort of or didn't get set or some ridiculousness. But they had to settle for a field goal there. But it should have been a touchdown. But that was really the end of it there, Donnie. From that point on, the Chiefs made the adjustments. And the number one offense in the NFL, right? This Detroit, we're going to drop 50 on you. And it didn't drop 50 on that Chiefs defense last night at all.
No, certainly not. By the way, even game there, because it wasn't like, the Kansas City Chiefs just kept the football away from the Lions. It was 30 minutes on one side, 29 minutes on the other side. So this was a pretty even game that the Chiefs end up winning. But I don't want to say it's marred. I always like rivalries. Like Mahomes reaches his hand out to Brian Branch, wants to dap him up. Branch gave him a little bit of disrespect. Words were exchanged. And then the brawl, which was Brian Branch. And you see the picture on the screen, which is kind of hilarious. Like if you're Juju Smith-Schuster, you don't want to wake up and see the internet with this picture on it like you're getting mugged on the ground and beaten up. But the NFL says they are going to determine exactly what happened, and they will hand out discipline if it's required. It's always nice to see a little brawl at the end of the game between two teams, isn't it?
Well, there was going to be a little bit. I mean, that's a little bit of a sore losing situation right there by Branch. And Dan Campbell even said so after the game that will not, you can't be throwing right hooks at players after the game. He said it will not be tolerated, nor it shouldn't. Nor should Aiden Hutchinson be able to get away with, 3 seconds after Mahomes throws the ball, hitting him in what was a crucial penalty at that point, because it would have been a 4th down, but instead they got a 1st down and were able to score that finishing touchdown to put the game out of reach. So, yeah, it's Detroit shot themselves in the foot, and Kansas City miraculously didn't. No turnovers, no penalties, Donnie. That's winning football.
I'm interested to see what penalties do come down from that brawl, because usually during the game, if you throw a punch, you get ejected, you get a nice little fine from FedEx at your locker. But after the game, to cause that, I'm wondering if that might be a one-game suspension, because the reason I bring that up is that secondary is so beat up and damaged. They can't afford to lose anybody else, let alone one of your better football players in that secondary. Crazy the way it turned out. More NFL topics next. Make sure you keep the dial right here on the grid.
Well, maybe that Chiefs dynasty is actually crumbling. And listen, I don't blame you for that, but you would be wrong. Here's what actually happened in that game last night. See, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much up and down that field. They outgained them, Donnie. You ready by this? By over 150 yards of offense.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, it was, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback the way he's playing right now in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go overseas. And if you're a Jets fan, maybe you say my football team should stay overseas, or at least the head coach should stay overseas. Here's Aaron Glenn talking about yet another debacle.
AJ, I understand you probably want to watch the film. Yeah. But Justin's numbers are not good from this game. Is he going to be your quarterback next week, or would you consider?
What kind of question is that?
Look, he did not have a good game. I mean, I think it's a fair question.
There's a number of guys that, sometimes this league is like this, and there are guys that have bad games. That doesn't mean you just bench them. Come on, you know better than that.
Now, this is coming from a guy that had a punt returner drop a punt and actually cut the guy. So what is he talking about? If you don't have a bad game, you don't just bench guys. What's this? What message is he sending out here, Joe?
I have no idea. I have no idea why it was clear when you had a quarterback that has minus 10 net yards, gets sacked 9 times because he holds on to the ball too long. I have no idea why you think that's a terrible question. What I want to know is, in a one-score game, when clearly the offense was struggling, why didn't you bring in Tyrod Taylor? Why not mix it up? Why not bench him and go to the bullpen? You're acting like this has been your number one pick. You're invested. You paid the guy $20 million. $20 million too much as far as I'm concerned. But it's not like you're indebted to him or you have to follow through with him. Like, what are we doing? Try to win the damn game by bringing in a quarterback that can actually throw the ball. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the loyalty to Fields is here and why you thought he gave you the best shot at winning that game without going to the bench.
It's incredible the way that game played out, Joe, because you're right. Did you know, people, they had the lead in the fourth quarter with absolutely zero offense. So if I go and plug in a quarterback who might be able to just pick up a few first downs and run the clock, you win that football game. And understand this. I'm not really a Justin Fields hater, but it's kind of funny when you saw him in Chicago and the odds makers would be like, yeah, he's a starting quarterback, 130 on his passing yards. You're like, he's not a rookie anymore. And an NFL quarterback who's like over under is between 140 and 130. That's embarrassing. There is a reason why he went to Pittsburgh. Hey, he was winning games early, not because of him. That's why they went to Russell Wilson, because Justin Fields can't pass. Then he comes to the Jets, and he shows you exactly what he is in big moments here. He's not a quarterback. He's an unbelievable athlete. If you use him, Joe, in like a Cam Newton way, you know what? You're not our starting quarterback, but I have packages for you. On the goal line, you're a dynamic runner, an unbelievable athlete. He has a place in the NFL, and I keep tweeting out every week. Listen to me on this. Justin Fields as a tight end or a flex wide receiver tight end would be an amazing specimen to get the football to in open space and also make dynamic plays downfield because he's tall, he's athletic, and he's a big body. End the experiment. He's not your franchise quarterback. But, Joe, I don't hate on the guy enough. He has a place in the NFL, just not a quarterback.
Yeah. He's not a quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback. You ask every executive in the NFL, they all said the same thing. I don't know what you're paying $20 million to a backup quarterback. I know, yeah, Donnie, not for nothing here, but wasn't Jackson Dart available when the Jets were picking? Instead, they went with an offensive lineman who still can't block anybody, being sacked 9 times. I don't know what they're doing. And to make matters worse is now the Giants have 2 rookies that are going to elevate that franchise. You could have had both of them, and the Jets instead had opted for none of them. And that is the New York Jet way. That's the problem.
Like, your defense came to play and your offense gave you absolutely nothing, and all you're doing is upsetting your top wide receiver. And he understands, like, not only are we not even getting plays off, you're not even looking for me at the football. And when I do get the football, it's usually at my feet. I mean, this is as devastating as a season you could ever ask for the Jets. We're just looking to build that foundation for the future. And the foundation is faulty at this point, which is a shame. Maybe it isn't. Jets fans are used to this here. I'll tell you who's getting used to losing right now. It's the Miami Dolphins. 1-5 on the season after a loss to the Chargers where they didn't play defense to end the game. And Ladd McConkey went down the sideline with seconds left so they can kick a field goal. But the question for me wasn't actually what's going on off the field. Have you been watching Tua Tagovailoa's post-game press conferences where he basically is like, yeah, I'm getting paid, deal with it. By the way, how's the team? Nobody shows up to meetings, players-only meetings, people skip out. Nobody cares around here, and we lost again. Tua threw 3 interceptions. Yes, he's part of the problem. James Franklin got fired from Penn State. We'll talk about later. When is McDaniels getting shown the door? This team is ridiculous, Joe.
It is ridiculous, Donnie. But unfortunately, if you haven't been paying attention, we've been telling you this now since before the season. I mean, we talked about it, Donnie, before it all started. I said the rumors and the stories coming out of that locker room down at Dolphins training camp in Davie, Florida, are not good, folks. There is serious dysfunction going on. There's no leadership. It starts with the general manager and goes all the way down. And how is anybody shocked that Tua is going, this place is an absolute train wreck? We got guys, nobody's showing up. There's no leadership on this team, which is exactly why you have 1 win.
It's incredible. You look at the Chargers coming into this game, 3-2, no offensive line. Backup running backs. One of your better wide receivers who's having a rebirth this year in Johnson, he's down in this game. And you let guys like Oronde Gadsden get 68 yards. Kamani Vidal out of the backfield, Joe, 18 carries for 124 yards. 124 yards is what Vidal was supposed to get on the entire season combined over 17 games. What an embarrassing performance by the Miami Dolphins. It's not going to get better. And as we talked about, the only shame, I guess, is that Tyreek Hill got injured because you could have used him as a trade piece. I don't know how many trade pieces you got left because that defense is, look, no offensive lineman, Joe. You get 1 sack in this game, and that 1 sack was for 1 yard. Enough with the Miami Dolphins. I'll tell you who else we're enough with. What is up with this year's team? Like, some of these teams we had high expectations for. Yeah, we're looking at you, Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, you're banged up and injured. You're not even showing up on a week-to-week basis. And sometimes, Joe, I like to sound off for myself. I had a bet yesterday. I didn't want to take Derrick Henry to get a touchdown himself. So I took a bet that was a prop, Joe, at Bet365. It was just the Ravens to get 1 rushing touchdown as a team. Didn't matter who got it. I had 1st and goal from the 4, a Derrick Henry handoff to the goal line. 2 quarterback sneaks by your tight end, which have worked during the season, goes nowhere, and loss of yards for Derrick Henry. So I even got punched in the mouth by the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. This team stinks, Joe.
No, they're not good, Donnie. They're not a good football team, and I hate to break it to you. Lamar Jackson's not changing that. This runs deeper than Lamar here. The injuries on the defensive side of the ball, the defense in general, Donnie, can't stop a nosebleed here. It is absolutely awful. And by the way, I mean, you got your left tackle back yesterday, right? You got Hamilton back, your safety. You brought in another guy there to try to... Yeah. There is literally no reason for that to have unfolded the way it did yesterday. And again, it's what is Lamar going to do or change here? Because you and I both know, Donnie, it's what? A hamstring? You and I both know he's going to be dealing with that every week that he's on the field from here on out. I don't think it gets better before it gets worse. And I don't know who to point the finger at here. Is it the front office? Is it Harbaugh? There's a lot of dysfunction right now, unfortunately, I think, with the Ravens.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Here's what's interesting. You're looking at a team 1-5, and correct me if I'm wrong, are the Steelers 5-1 now? Is that what the record is? Or are they 4-1 with it? So, yes. So, you look at the price points here, Joe. The Steelers are only a -145 to win that division. The Ravens are 1-5 at a +160 price. Like, if you just turn the tables on what a 1-5 team usually looks like, they're like 35 or 40 to 1 typically, as you would see, like the Cleveland Browns. So there's still hope for the Baltimore Ravens. And I talked about when we said, are they dead in the water? If you're buying the Ravens right now, you will not get a better price point than where you're going to see today with a legitimate chance to win. Like, they come out of the bye and lose to the Bears. It's over, and Lamar Jackson is back. It doesn't matter. But if there's one opportunity, Joe, to buy in, it might be right now. But sounds like you're out. You don't care who's coming back, not even Superman.
No, I'm out, Donnie, because you've lost all room for error now. Starting the season 1-5, you've lost. You should have won that game against the Bills. Like, you let 2 games go early on because the dysfunction was there, and now it's exacerbated by all the injuries. What happens now? You can't have a bad game the rest of the way through? You've dug yourself your hole here.
Unbelievable, man. Look at some of these records of some of these teams we did not anticipate. And we're only in the month of October and not even halfway through. Tom Vecchio joins us next. Let's get some prop perspective on Monday Night Football next.
Chiefs dynasty is actually crumbling. And listen, I don't blame you for that, but you would be wrong. Here's what actually happened in that game last night. See, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much up and down that field. They outgained them, Donnie. You ready by this? By over 150 yards of offense.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night, bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback the way he's playing right now in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
The early line is always the place to be, but always so important on a Monday because we get to play armchair quarterback of what happened over the weekend in the NFL and also in Major League Baseball. Did you know, people? Yeah, we're hyping it up. 2 games on Monday Night Football, 2 games in Major League Baseball, the ALCS and the NLCS. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. Now it's time to bring in Tom Vecchio. It's our boy on the SportsGrid Network here. He knows what's good. He knows what's going down. He knows it was a big sports weekend, and he's here to bring that energy today, Tommy. How we feeling?
I'm doing good. Football and playoff baseball. I am still waiting to see who the Brewers will pitch in tonight's game. I haven't seen that announced yet. But Fred Peralta's going in game 2. We got action all over the place. 2 games tonight. They're both early starts for you, Donnie. I'm ready to roll.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like they line this up perfectly for me. We're getting a 5 o'clock Major League Baseball game tonight and filtering into a doubleheader in the NFL that we don't have to wait up until midnight for that game to get over. So let's start down in Atlanta for this one, Tom. Buffalo and Atlanta. Josh Allen coming off that loss to the New England Patriots. A rested Atlanta Falcons football team. Joe and I talked about it earlier. Ticket count heavy on Buffalo's side, but some reverse line movement from 4.5 down to 3.5. Nice total, 49.5. Keep in mind, there is a Northeaster that's bringing up the coast, but what we love about Atlanta, it's a dome. No effect in this game, which we'll talk about the second game in a moment. How do we feel about Buffalo, Atlanta, Tom? What angles do you have in this one?
I think this is a rather interesting game. You know, for a primetime game, we normally get, some type of divisional matchup, rivalry, whatever it might be. Interconference matchup isn't something that we can say like, let's just take the points with the home team because they're the dog and it's a divisional matchup and they're going to play tight. We don't really have that here. I think everyone would agree that Buffalo is by far the better team when it's, all said and done. They certainly have their issues on defense, but I would be expecting some points. I would expect Buffalo to win. Do I love the fact that it's 3.5 now and you missed out on a 4.5? I wouldn't play the 3.5 just because you missed the 4.5. But if you told me the Bills won and didn't cover, it's a little bit of a cop-out answer, but I think that's the route we're kind of trending.
It's if I'm Atlanta coming off the bye, I need to be able to run on this Bills team. I want nothing to do with a shootout against Josh Allen and this offense. Like, I need Josh Allen to stay on the sidelines as long as humanly possible here. So who can help make that happen, or who should we fade in this game here with Atlanta?
Yeah, Bijan Robinson obviously going to be the big guy for the Falcons. They're going to be without Darnell Mooney, so their passing game's just a little bit weaker. As I've always said, we get these premium running backs. We're never getting a discount on their lines. And, even looking to Robinson when it comes to rushing plus receiving, that's about 110. So that does, insulate you essentially from game script, because if they do fall behind by the Bills, he will be involved in the passing game. But again, to your point, Joe, they don't want to turn this into a 30-28 game or 31-28. They want to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands. And, doing so, I think will eliminate some players in the passing game, and that's Kyle Pitts. So I think Kyle Pitts is a good talent. I continue to buy him year to year. I just don't love him in this matchup. The Bills as a team, they've allowed 123 receiving yards total to opposing tight ends in all 5 games this year. They're actually very, very good against opposing tight ends. So let's take Kyle Pitts under his receiving prop, which is sitting at 40.5. He's gotten to 37, 39 in a lot of these games. But again, if they're trying to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, that means they're going to be running it. Just not a whole lot of passes to go around.
Let's go. Game number 2 tonight, Tom. Chicago and Washington. That's an 8:15 start from the nation's capital. Some weather starting to creep in here, but still the total, people are buying into it. 49.5s and 50s in the marketplace. But the side here for Washington, that look-ahead line, 4.5. It's up to 5.5 across the board as a favorite here. How do we play this game tonight, Tom?
The weather obviously will impact things. And if you are worried about the weather, you don't want to be involved in props, whatever it might be, I would say simply just take the under. Just take the under, expect a lower scoring game. I know both defenses have had their issues at times this year, but if you think the weather is going to impact things and we're going to see this total plummet throughout the day, being at under 49.5 is far better if it drops to 47, whatever it might be, which isn't as good of a number, obviously. But when it comes to this game, we have to evaluate the impact of that. Terry McLaurin is not going to be playing for Washington. And when we look back to last week versus the Chargers, it's obviously just a 1-game sample size, and it is the first game back for James Daniels after his injury, so we have to also take that into account. But when we see 26 pass attempts for him and 11 targets went to Deebo Samuel, we are approaching a 50% target share. So not looking at Deebo as a primary option in this offense, I think would be a mistake. So I like Debo. The fact that we're getting a sub 60 number on his receiving prop, I think is absolutely fantastic. So I think we have to be looking at over 59.5. He is the guy for them in this passing offense. Zach Ertz is fine. Luke McCaffrey is fine. None of these players should be reasonably taking targets away from him. And then finally, let's go to Caleb Williams over on his passing attempts. I'm not sold on the Bears rushing game. I don't think it's very good. I think DeAndre Swift is just a league average running back. And although the weather could play a part, the quick pass attempts for Caleb Williams should be there. So let's take him over that. We have 35, 30, 28, and 37 pass attempts from him. So we're roughly at this number, but with the bad defense on the Commander side of things, quick passes with a healthy receiving core for the Bears should put them in a good spot.
Nice.
It's interesting, too. Marshawn Lattimore quietly is being that shutdown guy again. He did it last week against the Chargers. I think they only completed one pass throwing his way. I would imagine he's going to be on the number one receiver here for the Bears, Odunze, right? So are we looking that maybe he's the guy to look to fade here as well tonight?
You could certainly do that. And there's always a lot of talk about rookies post-bye. That's when they start to break out, just because, they need to get acclimated, having that extra week. So either Colston Loveland or Luther Burden, along with DJ Moore. So it's not like, yes, Roman Dunze faces certainly a tough matchup, and him being eliminated from the offense will downgrade his props overall. But the fact that there are weapons out there, and if you are buying into Ben Johnson as an offensive guru, there are four other receiving options: Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, DJ Moore, and then Swift coming out of the backfield, that they could still move the ball. And again, quick passes for Williams instead of dropping back, taking 7-step drops.
Tom, any quick looks tonight for that Major League Baseball card? I know we're waiting to see who Milwaukee's going to have. I have Priester listed, but it's not official anywhere. We don't know there. Any looks between Seattle, Toronto, Los Angeles, and Milwaukee?
I would play the Blue Jays simply going zigzag back and forth, and I would take the plus money on the Brewers at home. The fact that we're getting such a good number on them is very interesting. I would also lean over in that game.
And you know what else I don't like, Tom Vecchio? The NHL is going strong and now. A great day of hockey. My Philadelphia Flyers opened up against Florida, then played Carolina, and get Florida again. What are they doing to my team, Tom? What are they doing to them?
All easy games to end the season. You're not going to play them later in the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Bobby Brink, baby. Remember the name Bobby Brink, people. Thanks, Tom, for joining us on a Monday morning. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Well, maybe that Chiefs dynasty is actually crumbling. And listen, I don't blame you for that, but you would be wrong. Here's what actually happened in that game last night. See, the Kansas City Chiefs dominated the Jacksonville Jaguars pretty much up and down that field. They outgained them, Donnie. You ready by this? By over 150 yards of offense.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Basically a year's worth of starts at this point, because remember, Drake May was not the starter out of the gate during his rookie year last year. That was Jacoby Brissett. There have been some, encouraging performances and, I think some flashes of what could be upper echelon talent within the scope of the league. But going into this year, it was, we're going to find out.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I told you Vladimir Guerrero would hit a home run. He hits a home run on his first pitch. 2-run shot, 2-0 Jays. And I gave you Suarez earlier. I'm telling you, Scott, Contreras last night, Story the other night. Bro, every night I've been hitting these home run props. And not the easy Ohtani ones at old plus 190. Right. These are plus 450s, baby.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Are we going to sit here today and acknowledge that the Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in the AFC?
They are right now.
They can run the football with Taylor. They got a competent quarterback the way he's playing right now in Daniel Jones. They are well coached.
They never punt.
They never punt.
They never punt.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Don't look now. The 5-1, yes, the 5-1 Indianapolis Colts under Daniel Jones, who threw 30 times yesterday for 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, $123 on the ground. It looks like a well-oiled machine for Shane Steichen, where maybe we didn't have high expectations or high enough expectations for the Colts. But here's what I love about this game. 31-27, the Cardinals do get the cover. Kyler Murray makes all the money in the world. He's supposed to be the engine that goes, oh, you can't like them if he misses that game. The Cardinals probably should have won this game outright. Jacoby Brissett threw 44 times, Joe, 320 yards and 2 touchdowns in this game. My goodness, the Cardinals showing fight without their starting quarterback here, but credit the Colts once again. I like what I see in this football team. And by the way, Tyler Warren not to be drafted first overall as the tight end and opposed Colston Loveland. What are we doing out here, man? That guy's a beast.
He is a beast here. And listen, the one positive I would take away with the Cardinals, too, is that you didn't this could have easily have been a rollover spot for them. Kyler Murray was ruled out. He was, we knew he was questionable during the week, Donnie. Yep. Then all of a sudden, Thursday, Friday, oh, no, he's playing. Then all of a sudden, Sunday, he's like, no, he's not. Jacoby Brissett's going. We saw that line get up to as much as 9 before kickoff, and then I think it settled right around 8.5. And they brought it. There was no quit in this team. So they did respond to giving the game away last week to Tennessee, which I think is important. But then the Colts, before the game, they lost not 1, but 2 players to ridiculously stupid injuries there. So you didn't know what you were going to get from the Colts either. But what you continue to get is Daniel Jones continuing to improve under Shane Steichen in this offense. And that was a huge drive to win it, Donnie, in the fourth quarter again. So it's kind of hard. It's like, who is this guy? Just hit the reset button. And that's exactly what Daniel Jones did. And look at him. My goodness, unbelievable.
Like what I see. How about this? I got 2 words for you, Joe. Rico Dowdle. Back-to-back weeks. Who is this guy? Walter Payton? 30 carries, $183. Then he chips in with 4 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. Rico Dowdle is running wild. And the Panthers are now 3-3 on the season and dropped the Cowboys to under 500 at 2-3. Go, Rico, go. Uncle Rico.
Yeah, I know. It's so glad the Cowboys didn't get rid. Oh, no, wait a minute. They did get rid of him. That's right. Yeah, unfortunate for them, though, isn't it here? And listen, I said at the start of the year, I thought this was going to be a much improved Carolina team because I truly believe that they had figured something out. With the coach quarterback combo there, figured something out there the second go around last year. 3-0 at home now. They're still 0-3 on the road. But when you look at some of the guys that Bryce Young is surrounded with, Donnie, the injuries on that team have been over the top too. And yet they continue to find ways to beat teams on their own home field. So at 3-3, did you have them after 6 games at 3-3? Because a lot of people didn't.
How about this? Did you have New England Patriots going on the road beating the Saints? A lot of public people did. This was a close game all the way through. Drake May on the road, 18 of 26, Joe, 3 tutties, no interceptions, a passer rating of 140, and he also led the team in rushing. That's one of those wins I love to see because, what do you mean, Donnie? The Saints are bad. A massive win the week before against Buffalo on the road, then going on the road in the spot you're supposed to win and winning and covering. I like what I see out of the Patriots here and Mike Vrabel.
We talked about this a lot last week in our spread lines with this game that we felt New England is an undervalued commodity in the marketplace. We don't, everyone was going let down because they beat the Bills. Not with, taking into consideration who we're talking about as the head coach here in Mike Vrabel. There was no way he was going to have this team somehow coast through thinking New Orleans was going to be an easy win. Hence, it wasn't. They had to fight for everything in that job. And now all of a sudden they're sitting at 4-2 in second place in the AFC East.
Absolutely. You can hear the terrible towels right now. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Who would think the Steelers 4-1 on the season? 1-5. Baltimore Ravens. Aaron Rodgers, 21-30 for 235, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating of 115. And getting this boy DK Metcalf involved, 4 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. Dylan Gabriel threw 52 times on Sunday. That's not a recipe for success here. Pittsburgh wins going away. Look at those Steelers.
And you know what? It's funny. I thought the Jets, Aaron Rodgers was the problem. It doesn't seem to be a problem in Pittsburgh, Donnie. In fact, I'm not reading anything except him just actually winning games for them and looking the part of a starting quarterback. And it works. And it's working now. Win the games that are on the schedule that you're supposed to win. That's exactly what Pittsburgh is doing.
Yeah, they had the travel environment on their side and extra rest. You're supposed to beat the Browns. Probably, did I see they beat them? Is it 22 straight times in Pittsburgh they beat Cleveland? Something ridiculous, man. Cleveland, get up off the mat. Maybe they never will. Hour number 2 coming up next.